Okay, so yeah, so far you've been doing pretty well. I know we've only graded 2 memos so far, but they've been good so far. And Memo 3, again, that looks pretty good so far too. So making my life easier for grading. And I expect Memo 3, 4, and 5, I expect all of them to be, the same kind of quality. So um, looking pretty good so far. And for Memo 5, I didn't send out an announcement, but some of you may have noticed for that, we're not going to do a full memo like 3 and 4 just because, we're at the end of the semester here. So I'm going to keep this one really short, really. So you're going to have a memo, but all you need to include for this is a results section. So basically, you're going to have the model that we worked on last time. And you'll just tune that on your own for the constraints that we had for the system. Let's go back and take a look at that. Oops. Okay, so for this lab, for lab 5, we had a few constraints. Where are they? Right here. So we had to adjust the damping and the stiffness coefficient. So our bounce amplitude and the pitch angle was less than 2.5 millimeters and 10 to the negative 3 radians, respectively. And that was at steady state. So you only had to adjust your model to adjust the model for the damping and the stiffness to meet these constraints. Okay, so you're going to do that, and really that's that's it for the most part. So all you have to do is adjust the model, and then for your actual memo, I just have it outlined actually just here on Canvas. So show the general steps that we had for the lab. You're going to keep it pretty top level, so keep it pretty brief and pretty general. Then you'll show the model that we made in Simulink, and then you'll explain the general steps that you took to tune the model. So that was tuning the stiffness and the damping coefficients. And so you'll explain the steps that you took to tune those until you could meet the constraints that we had. And then the last one, I guess, cry tears of joy until you realize you have a final. But the final for this class, it won't be too bad. So, you don't need to freak out too much. And this will be due on December 15th. So that's on the day of the final, right? I think. Let me check my calendar. That's what it should be. Yeah, that's the day of the final. So it'll be due, by 11:59 p.m. But yeah, this shouldn't take you too long, right? You just need to tune the model and give a brief little write-up. So it'll be pretty simple. Okay, we got 2 questions. So from Daniel, so no abstract or discussion and conclusion, just the results with the other stuff here. Yeah, that's it. We only have just the results section, basically. So yeah, just make sure that you have in your memo all of these, well, really 3 things right here. So that's it. Okay, and then Hassan is the final take home for a week like last semester. Oh, did I do it for a week last semester? I was thinking having it just for a day. Maybe I could extend it a bit, but it's not going to be difficult. So at minimum, you'll have a full day to work on it. But really, it should just take you maybe a few hours. It's going to be pretty simple. We'll talk about the actual content of it though as well. Yeah, the final's on the 15th. So yeah, it's next Tuesday. So I'll release it basically at 11:30 next Tuesday. You will have at minimum a full day to work on it. I'll tell you, this weekend I'll send out an announcement for whether it's a full day or longer, but I need to manage my time because I need to grade all these before grades are due, of course, and I also need to get all of the other grading done for my other class too. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, so we have again, just to reiterate, Memo 5 It's just really these 3 things that you need to include. So it's essentially just a results section that's due next Tuesday by 11:59 p.m. Memos 3 and 4, I'm going to get that graded by the end of this weekend, or at least by when your final is, because it's only fair to you. And then we'll go over what's going to be on the final today. So it's going to be pretty brief, though. Okay. Okay, so we already talked about that. Memo 5, we already talked about this as well, actually. Okay, so for the final, I'm going to give you an equation of motion. I will most likely give you an equation of motion. I might have you derive it, but most likely that's not going to occur. So 90%, I'm probably going to give you the equation of motion directly, because this isn't a dynamics class or anything, or vibrations class where you need to derive the equation of motion yourself. I know we have done that in the labs, but the focus for this lab is on Simulink. So most likely, again, like 90%, I'll probably give you an equation of motion directly, and then you'll model that inside of Simulink, and you're going to export the relevant data to MATLAB, and you're going to plot it. So that's when we use our 2 workspace block, and then we export that to MATLAB, and we write a script in MATLAB to plot the results, and basically that'll be it. For bonus points, okay, I guess I said that. So you can solve for the analytic solution too, and then you can plot that to compare it to your simulated solution. And I'll give you a few extra points. It won't be too much, but I'll give you a few extra points if you want to do that. Okay, so what's the equation of motion going to be like? It's going to be just a simple second order linear differential equation. So it'll be similar to lab 1. So let's actually pull that up. Okay, so this is a lab 1 that I have up here. Let's actually open up the slides that we had for that. Let's go here. Okay, so this was the equation of motion that we derived for lab 1. So of course, for lab 1, we actually went over the derivation for the equation of motion, but for the final, I'll just give you this equation of motion. Well, not this one, but I'll give you some equation of motion directly. So something like this. And I'll give you some of the parameters, like whatever the mass is for our system, the stiffness and the damping, if there is damping present. We might have an external force as well. So it'll be similar to this. Of course, our external force, we actually kind of derived that here. We had our free body diagram here. So we had a force, and that was really this value right here for our stiffness multiplied by the velocity. Okay, so again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'll give you an equation of motion. Most likely, I'm going to have an external forcing component to it as well. But we know how to do that in our model, so I'll show you. A little dog, well, my dog. Okay, so I'll give you the parameters for mass and stiffness, damping coefficient, whatever the external force is. Then you will model that inside of Simulink. And so let's take a look at what that model looked like. Okay, so this was the model that we had for the first lab, so it's been a while now. We basically had essentially 2 identical models. The other model here is for some different parameters. But really all our model was everything that's highlighted here. Comparing this to the last lab, this is really simple, right? This is just modeling that equation of motion that we just looked at, which is equation 3 right here. Okay, so we have basically, just to, I don't know, kind of refresh you if you kind of need it, we have basically x double dot is equal to, let's actually pull this up again. It'll maybe make a bit more sense. Okay. Okay, so we have our equation of motion down here, equation 3. So we have x double dot. All of this is basically representing x double dot right here. So all of that is equal to negative k divided by m1 times x1 minus c divided by m1 times x1 dot plus k divided by m1 v2 times t. Okay, so our velocity term is right here, right? We integrated to get that. So here's velocity. And if we look at our equation of motion, that should be multiplied by negative c divided by m1, which we used a gain block for. And our negative sign comes in with our summation block right here. Then for negative k divided by m multiplied by x, that's our position. That was right here. So here's our position, and we go down. And then we multiply that by k divided by m. And again, we have a negative sign right there in the summation block. Then the last part was our essentially is our force term for this system. And that was k divided by m multiplied by the velocity times time. So that's what we have over here. Let's actually make this gain block bigger. So we have this model is just disgusting to look at actually compared to how we made our other models later on. Whatever. Okay, so we have k multiplied by v divided by m. That's what you see in our term down here. And then we multiplied it by time. That's why we have this ramp block right here. This is going to represent the time. We could have also used a clock like we did down here. Wouldn't matter. And of course, we had a positive sign for this term, so we have a plus sign for our summation block. Okay, so really simple model, really. This is all it is right here. That's what we modeled. And then we used our two workspace blocks. As you can see here, we have the velocity. Over here is the position, and at the end is the elongation. So I'll have you, I'll specify in the final which parameters I want you to export to MATLAB. And then you will go into MATLAB and you'll write your script. So really some portions of our script here actually aren't as good as we did in the labs later on. So I'll actually go to our most recent one. This is not mine. Where is mine? Okay, I can't find mine. I'll go to lab 4 right now. Oh yeah, I used my laptop last time, that's why. Okay. So this is some better code that you guys can use as reference too on your final. So basically, we run our simulation here. So we create a variable and then we set that equal to our simulation that's to be ran. And then down here, these are our plots. A lot of this stuff, like ignore this color stuff. That was for my slides. And ignore this as well. So basically just plot your figure. And then for the actual plot, I guess we'll run this. It'll make more sense. For the actual plot, from your two workspace blocks, we have this that'll come up. So something like this. And within this variable here, or I guess it's a simulation output, technically, we have all of our two workspace blocks in here. So to make our plot, we well, first in Simulink by default, the two workspace blocks are saved as a time series. So let's actually, I'll open this one up now too, just to kind of go over it. Okay, so our two workspace blocks, by default, they're saved as a time series. So you'll see that right here, we have a time series. And that's convenient for us because when we want to plot it, all we have to do is type in whatever our variable name was for our simulation. In this case, I called it gantry sim, which you see on line 19. And then to plot whatever parameter we want to plot, we just use dot notation. If I go back here, you see that we have a variable that we had in our model that was called linear force. And that's a time series, so it contains all of the time and then all of the respective data. So we just needed to do dot linear force, and then we could get our plot. So really simple. And then you'll have, your corresponding Y label and title, whatever. That's not too difficult. So that's it for the actual model and the plotting. And then I'll have maybe 1 to 3 questions on the actual model and results itself, so I can ensure that you actually understand what you're doing. So they're not going to be too complex of questions. Basically, well, I don't want to spoil one of the questions. I have one in mind. It's not difficult though, but basically just make sure that you understand steady state and what that should look like, and steady state versus a transient response. That's, I guess, one of the big hints there. Because that's the question I have in mind. It's something to do with that. It's comparing a plot that's at steady state versus a plot that is also showing the transient response to steady state. All right, so it'll be not too bad. Your questions, they'll be on Canvas. So I'll have 1 to 3 questions again, and then you will answer it in a text box. And then you will upload your script and your model as well on Canvas. And that'll be it for the final. So again, the final will be at least 1 full day. It might be more. I need to count on just being a full day right now, because I don't want to disappoint you. So it'll be a full day. That's plenty of time to work on this final, though it's going to be, again, pretty simple. So count on a full day for it. But I'll send out an email this weekend for the full details. So in this email, I'll tell you how long it's going to be, and I guess kind of the format. I'll kind of reiterate it. For the final, it's going to be your submission will be on Canvas. Okay. Okay. So, any questions on the final, or really anything for the class? No, I don't know which labs I'm teaching in spring. Unfortunately, I probably won't know until like 2 weeks before the semester starts. So, basically, when I find out, you're gonna find out. Whether you want to have a class with me or you want to avoid me, I don't know. I won't know till about 2 weeks before. I don't even know who's teaching the 476B, if that's what you're asking. No, I have literally zero idea if I'm teaching 476B. I might be teaching this lab again for all I know. I don't even know if this is taught next semester, actually. I really have no clue what I'm teaching so far. For next semester, I should say that. Okay. Any other questions? No, I don't teach in the summer. At least I haven't so far. Okay, 476A is only fall. I'm guessing I'm going to be teaching 306B. I'm just guessing, but I don't know. Maybe MATLAB again too. I don't know. All right, well, if you guys don't have... Yeah, I'm actually teaching MATLAB this semester. I want to take it. Yeah, I actually enjoyed teaching it, so hopefully I teach it next semester too. All right, well, if you guys don't have any more questions on anything else, then you're free to go. So it was a really quick class, but again, the final will be next Tuesday, and you'll have at least a full day, and I'll get your memos graded before your final actually occurs. Yeah, you can save them if you want. I have all of them on my YouTube channel too, and I don't plan on taking them down at least anytime soon, so you could take a look at them if you want. Yeah, so I guess this is also going to be the last time that we actually meet, well, on Zoom. So it's nice to kind of get to know all of you guys. I know some of you in person, but a lot of you I never met in person. So it's good to kind of get to know you, and hopefully sometime we can actually meet in person. But that would just be next semester before you graduate. So kind of unlikely, but good luck with the rest of your classes, and yeah, hopefully you guys do well in the final. I'm sure you will, and good luck on your other finals too. And thanks, guys. No problem, Alan.